This is week 6 of The Apprentice. Last week, week 5, they had to buy 9 items around Oxford and Cambridge, and Ryan, who lost 5 times, was fired. And Thomas, who had been on the losing team 4 times, had had his first ever win. This week, week 6, they had to design and prototype a roller coaster and design, brand, manufacture, prototype a roller coaster. And the two project managers, again, losing team and winning team. Losing teams was Scarlett, and winning teams was Karina. And when they were doing the brief, the funny thing was that Thomas, because he's so big, because one of the teams was sitting in bumper cars while the other was sitting on a little merry-go-round sort of thing, and Thomas was the ones with the dodgem cars when they were trying to do the talking. They sat in, he was covering up the whole dodgem car all to himself because he's so big. Lottie and Dean hadn't been project managers on that team, and then on the other team, the only one who hadn't been a project manager was Ryan Mark, but he never stepped up to the plate after last week. So basically the winning team's design was, I don't know what they were. I think one was a bit where they had water. I think it was a water-based theme ride, and the others was just a rocket ship one, which the losing teams, which Thomas was so adamant he had all the designs and kept never including Lottie and Isha in it. But Lottie tried to mainly tried to step up to it, and I mean Thomas. She stood up to Thomas, and Isha didn't really. She just let Thomas do all the creative ideas, this, that and the other. And they also had to go, all the teams on the roller coaster, and even Karen and Claude were sitting there they always do their vacant expression in the background. Like that, all the time, their vacant expression, can they not lighten up? Can they not enjoy the roller coaster ride? I mean, Ryan Mark was scared of that roller coaster, Mind you, I mean, I think on television, I would definitely, try those roller coasters. But really, in general, I wouldn't ever get on them. I've not been on them for a long time. I just won't get on them now. I mean, I used to be alright with them, but now, I would be, I don't know, I think I'll be like Ryan Mark. Either, and a bit, smiling, but then screaming as well. It's very difficult. I mean, on to say, but yeah, I would go on the roller coaster in front of The Apprentice. I would ride on one, yeah, just for television, just for fun. I'll have that commitment. I mean, Thomas would definitely want to go again on the roller coaster. He would be the one, actually there. He was so passionate about this task and even wanted to be the project manager as well, even though he'd been one twice. And the winning teams had the eye, which I did not get. Their branding was the eye, had an eye brand. And Karina was so generous to Ryan Mark on the winning team because they let Ryan Mark, for the first time ever, be a sub-team leader. That was very kind of Karina. And then they listened to the feedback. The sub-teams listened to feedback on the second day, Basically, the feedback was that with the losing teams was that it just was a bit, complicated, and yeah, it was complicated. The winning teams was a lot more, in terms of concept, a lot more, simple. And they even had to pitch them to industry experts. And basically, even there was those like little simulators which you could try, and then they had to put the glass on, even, and all the glasses were like falling off. And then they did a reenactment with on the winning team with Gemlin lying on the floor and then them walking around. Whereas for the other pitch, Isha was trying to do the figures, and then they just kept no, no, and then the project manager Scarlett was like, no, no, Isha, I'm going to do that. Yeah, it was just like, and actually Karen did tell Alan Sugar in the boardroom that actually they would listen, they had charm and would listen to Thomas. So that's impressive. So the winning team, as I said, was Karina's team. And the losing teams was Scarlett's team. And Thomas, he was just actually turning on Isha. He knew that Isha was the one who did nothing, and therefore, as she did nothing, it could be very easy to, what do you call it, to scapegoat Isha, and the whole team turned against them. Even Alan Sugar said in the boardroom, Marianne, who's responsible? And then Marianne gave it that actually it was Isha, yeah. And even Scarlett said, I don't even know whether Isha was even on the task. And Dean said it, Lottie said it, Thomas said it. Basically, yeah. So for the boardroom, Scarlett really struggled with the decision of, because she's supposed to bring 2 people back, but she could think of 3 people, which was Lottie, Isha, and Dean. 2 people, Dean and Lottie, didn't basically do anything. They haven't been project managers. They did contribute. Isha didn't, although she did make a £1 million boardroom, which was quite impressive. And then, on the task, she just did nothing, which was, she didn't stand up to Thomas, and that shows that, if you are being taken over by an overpowered leader, and you can't overpower them back, that just shows you're not very domineering. And I think Isha was right to go. She did nothing. But when Alan Sugar fired her, she didn't even say thank you for the opportunity or anything. She just looked so bitchy and stuff like that. Between the 2 young people, Lottie, 19, Dean, 20, they decided that what they would do is a gamble. So they would get the coin, flip it, heads or tails, and Dean was for the following week is the project manager. So the 3 people that survived were Scarlett, Dean, and Lottie. And there you are, there you have it. So I think now week 6, we're at the point to decide who would go to the final 5, who would go to the final. My personal instinct for final 5 is Thomas, Lottie, Scarlett, Ryan, Mark, and Karina. Yeah, Karina, or maybe Gemlin might go into the final 5. There's 10 contestants left. We have, who else do I think would get into that final 5? Lewis wouldn't, Dean wouldn't, and Marianne will get to the final 5. And Pamela wouldn't. Pamela's got away with it twice. Week 3, where she won as a project manager by luck, and then week 5. So yeah, but unless otherwise, because we do, there's always risks of going. Like I didn't think Ryan would go. I didn't think, I really did not think that Ryan would go. Really, that kind of shocked me. So anything could be even more of a surprise. But they're the suspected people. Lottie would definitely get to the final, mate, and Scarlett. I don't think Karina would. I think yeah, Marianne could. But yeah, we'll have to find out. Next week, the teams have to advertise the capital of. No, they don't have to advertise. They have to advertise Finland, the country Finland. And Dean will be elected the project manager, and there will be a reshuffle. So Thomas and Marianne will swap with Lewis and Karina. So thank you so much. I'll see you soon.